Welcome to Exit Algorithms, the podcast where we decode what it really takes to unlock growth, streamline operations, and prepare your business for a high value exit. I'm your host, Pete Vera, and today I'm joined by Mike Stoll, co founder of Ready Smart Go and the Business Resilience Society, where he helps entrepreneurs build companies that last longer than a lifetime by getting operationally resilient and ready for the unexpected. Mike has spent over 30 years building and growing businesses, from founding TMC Computer Services to leading the All-Star Agency Speakers Bureau. Plus, has a ton of hands-on experience as a trainer, seminar presenter, and business consultant. So, super excited for this conversation, Mike. Great to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Pete. Happy to be here and share what I can.
Yeah, can't wait to dive in. I think if we could start the show off by you mind sharing a bit about your background and maybe some key experiences throughout your business journey.
Yeah, well, it's a long journey actually. I mean, all the way back from when I was a kid. I started out with, mowing lawns and then got into fixing cars and always doing some kind of work and always having a little kind of business angle to things. And at one time I had like five jobs going with different little side jobs with a main job and I've always been that way, just in the business. Business was what I did. And but then I got a real job one day and I started working for IBM and we IBM taught me to repair typewriters. The old IBM Selectric typewriter was the typewriter with the ball on it. And
Mm.
so I did that and decided that I wanted to get into real estate. Went out into real estate, failed, succeeded, did all these different things, and then decided to build or take my IBM experience and put that into a business. And that's where
Mm.
TMC, actually, TMC stood for Typewriter Maintenance Company, is what
Uh,
the three letters were for. Because
yeah.
I started out, I said, I don't want to, this is just temporary. Real estate's my thing. And so I just wanted to do maintenance. And so me and my partner, he got on the phone, started calling people, hey, you want your typewriter cleaned? And I went out and did the cleaning. And that's how the business got off the ground until one day, one of the customers said, hey, do you have an annual contract for these typewriters? And that's when we had a big decision point to make because if we took an annual contract, that meant we were going to be in the typewriter business for a long time.
Mm.
And we decided to go for it. That business lasted uh, 12 or 13 years, I think it was.
Got
And
it.
that and then that's when I think I first encountered my big disruption in business. And that's when we were we were focused on typewriters and word processors and the things of the day that were driven by motors and
Mm.
mechanical things. And then all of a sudden the IBM PC showed up on the street. And that was the beginning of the end because we lasted quite a while. We got into computers, we got into Wang computers. We were big into computer stuff. But then when the big computers shrunk down to little computers, the and people didn't need to get them fixed, things shifted. And we no longer found a need for our services because we fix stuff, you know? And then
Yeah.
one thing led to another. I'm, I sold that business to my partner and I moved it. Tired of traveling. I traveled all over the country doing that and decided to create an agency for booking other speakers and trainers and the like. And then uh, where'd that go? Oh, and that my agency was called the All-Star Agency. You mentioned it.
Uh-huh.
that lasted for like 15 years. And then 9/11 came along and disrupted the whole industry of travel and how you do
Oh,
meetings and all this other stuff. We didn't have
yeah.
Zoom and we didn't have everything was in person. And so that
Hmm.
shifted.
Wow.
And then um, my wife retired from Johns Hopkins as a computer, or excuse me, as an IT director, the director of IT at Johns Hopkins. And they had something that I had never heard of. It was called business continuity. You may
Hmm.
have heard about doing backups for your system, your computer system to make, if something crashes, you always have a backup. Well, that was part of this business continuity planning that they were doing. And I thought to myself, well, I never heard of that. All the years I've been doing tromping around in businesses, what is business continuity? And it
Hmm.
has to do with if something goes wrong, how do you have a plan to continue doing your business so you can stay in business? And I just
Hmm.
described to you, I had a couple times there, one with the technology change. We didn't have a plan for how to overcome the PC, and then 9/11 happened, and we didn't have a plan for how to overcome, a big disruption in travel industry.
Yeah.
So these are the kinds of things that we do now today with the Business Resilience Society. That's what we're all about, is paying attention to what could go wrong in the future that could take you out.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, that
Gotcha.
was a long answer, wasn't it?
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, some really good insights already there. Just bouncing back through some bad things that have happened that are really kind of out of your control, or just the shift in technology,
Yeah,
typewriters.
what you just said there is exactly it. The things that are out of your control that happen to you. There's something called it's a Buddhist phrase called impermanence.
Hmm.
And the Buddhist beliefs are everything is impermanent. In other words, not permanent. Nothing is permanent. Everything changes all the time. You're
Yeah.
us, while we're sitting here talking, our hair is growing. Well, your hair is growing. Things are happening around us or outside of us that we're not even aware of. Things are constantly changing. And so you cannot sit on your laurels. You can't say, oh,
Mm,
wow, this is it. I've done it. I've got it. This is my moneymaker. I'm going to sit on it and milk it for the rest of my life. It's
yeah.
not going to happen. Trust me, because of impermanence. Things change and you've got to change with it.
Love that. Yeah, 100%. That's funny. I was just reading a book by Grant Cardone, and he talks about a similar, yeah, it's a phenomenon of once you start to do well, you tend to coast.
Yeah.
Um, it's just fighting against that because you're
Well, I think that
exactly.
Yeah,
uh
I think that's natural though. It's a comfort thing. Oh, wow, I got something good. I'm just going to coast here. But as soon as you start coasting, that's the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
You got to get off your butt and start doing things or continue to do things. And that's
Yeah.
the business continuity, staying in continuous motion and continuous business no matter what happens, and prepare
Mhm.
and think about what kind of things could disrupt your business.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's great you have, personal hands-on experience with two completely different things that affected your businesses.
Yep.
What are some common disruptions that you see, that could take down an otherwise healthy small business?
Well, first off, I want to point out that small businesses in this country for the last 30 years, it's stayed the same. 50% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years. And it's
Hmm.
because of disruptions. The biggest one is cash flow and not paying attention to profitability. Another one is not understanding yourself in business and understanding your business, why you're in business. I don't know if you've read the book. I forget what's it called. I got it up here. I can't put my eyes on it, but it's about knowing your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? What is the real purpose behind it? And I call it vision and mission and values and purpose.
Mm,
What is, first off, what is your vision? What is it you think you can accomplish? And where is it you want to lead your people if you have people and if you grow to have people? Then, if that's where it is, then how are you going to get there? That's your mission. How are you going to do it every day? Are you going to sell widgets? Are you going to serve people? Or, what are the different things you're going to do? And how are you going to do it? The how actually is the values. What are the values of yourself and your company that you want to instill in your company as the kind of business you are? And then
mm,
the purpose is the why. Why are you doing this in the first place? Is it just to make money? Is it to have a bigger impact on the world? Is it to help somebody else? Is it to hire employees? Is it because it's fun? Dig down into yourself. Why are you doing this particular thing at this
mm,
particular time? Because these things are all important, and it prepares you for uh, these disruptions. Now, the disruption itself, it could be as
mm,
simple as a power outage. Power goes down, and all of a sudden your dispatcher can't dispatch, or
mm.
your cell phone goes down and nobody can talk to one another,
Right.
or it could be you run out of money and you can't pay your employees. What happens? Boom, you're you know these
Yeah.
all these things are disruptions that could potentially take you down if you didn't have some idea of how you were going to handle it.
Mm. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Um, Makes sense. Cash flow, probably the number one thing. Um,
Yeah, I think it
Making.
is. It is actually. Cash flow is the biggest one, and people often mistake having money by through like borrowing money as the cash flow, but that cash flow has to come from the generation of whatever your efforts are.
Hmm.
Uh, the money's got to come, you got to create the money actually from doing what you do. If you're a trucker, it's hauling something. If you're a bricklayer, it's building something, laying bricks. The money's
Yeah.
got to come from that source. Too many small businesses have the owners have big ideas and they go out and borrow on those ideas. And if the ideas don't come to fruition just as they think it should be, uh, then all of a sudden they're in trouble with a huge load of debt that's not
Mm.
serving any purpose towards bringing other money in. And I think that kind of thing really can take you out. I know I had an experience uh, when I had the All Star agency
Hmm.
that I decided to borrow money. Uh, it was because of the 9/11. When the 9/11 happened, I had a talk with myself thinking, okay, what do I do here? I have no business. I've got 5 employees. Um, uh, do I lay people off? Let me think. That's what I hear on TV all the time. Well, if you don't have a business, you got to lay your people off. But then it occurred to me, well, if I lay my people off, then I have no possibility of having a business.
Mm.
So I borrowed money to keep my people employed through the turbulence of the disruption of 9/11, disrupting
Yeah.
the
No, no pun
transportation.
intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No pun intended, indeed. And and then I was saddled with that debt going forward. Even after the disruption, I was now saddled with this big debt.
Hmm.
I stayed in business, but I was not free from the profits coming in. weren't really profits. It was just cash flow coming in and going
Mm.
right back out. And eventually it's what took the company down.
Wow. Got it. Yeah, so word of caution with taking on loans, huh, with the business.
Right. I've always in the real estate business, to me, if you know, back in the day when I started in real estate was in the 80s, interest rates were this is mortgage rates, 16% mortgage rate. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Everybody's complaining about 7%, 6% today. 16%. And my partner and
Crazy.
I figured, well, if we could borrow at 16%, but we could make 30%, what's wrong with that? So it didn't matter to us as an investor what the interest rate was, as long as we could make a profit on top of it. It didn't matter if it was
Mm.
12 or 5 or 16. If we could make more and at the profit margin we wanted, it didn't matter. And
Mm.
so if you're borrowing, that's the idea. That's the thing to keep in mind, in my opinion, is are you going to be able to make money on that borrowing? So if you're
Right.
paying whatever the interest rate is, if it enables you to bring in a higher profitability rate, then you're okay with it. But if you're using it for other purposes, undefinable purposes, like I did with keeping my people and not really knowing if I had business going forward, that's when I got in trouble with it.
Yeah.
So borrowing's not bad. It's just you got to be smart about it and weigh the risks of it.
Mm. Yeah, that's good. And knowing the difference between what you're going to use the money on.
Yes.
Uh, yeah. Are there any common cures you recommend or steps people can take to make their business more resilient?
Well, the
And
first
what's
thing I really implore people, this sounds really boring, but I really implore people to think about this vision, mission, values, and purpose. Um, just go on to ChatGPT and ask about it, um, and educate yourself on understanding these things because these are the foundations of your business. If you don't
mm,
think about your vision, mission, and the values that you believe in, um, you're going to stumble and you're going to fall. And once you have these things solid, they're always there to fall back on. I remember, and here's a good example. When I had the typewriter business, we were just doing maintenance and service on typewriters.
mm,
We were approached by many, many different dealers or manufacturers to sell their product. You know, hey, you're out there talking with people about fixing their typewriters. Why don't you sell them a new one? And we made the conscious decision that we did not want to sell typewriters or anything else. We just wanted to fix typewriters. Now, in the end, it killed us because, when there was nothing to fix, we were out of business. But
mm,
during the whole 12 plus years that we were going, it was really easy to make a decision about whether I wanted to take something on or not, because did it fit within the framework of fixing stuff? Or if it was outside of that framework, I knew immediately I wasn't interested and didn't want to deal with it. So
mm,
just understanding who I was and who we were at the time, that we were people who wanted to repair and maintain equipment for our customers. We did not want to be out there selling new stuff. We weren't trying to sell parts. We weren't trying to sell software. We weren't, we were right down that center lane there. And it really did well for us for many years. I mean, it grew it to a $5 million company, 35
mm.
employees, had office in New York and Washington. Uh, we did really well for a long time.
Yeah.
but it was about understanding who we were and what we wanted to be, and who we were as individuals, and how we and what we could do and what we didn't want to do and what we couldn't do.
Mm, yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, starting with the why. You have to have a strong why and know what you're where you're going in order to be able to overcome some of those hurdles, those disruptions, right?
Yep, exactly. It's so important. And I know, I mean, I can empathize with every small business owner out there, every entrepreneur. They're out there striving and thriving on getting sales or bringing in contracts or doing what they do. And that's, that's the thread of the business. That's the meat and potatoes of it. But it's not going to last because of the thing we talked about at the beginning, the impermanence. Things
Mm,
are going to change. You are going to change. One day you're going to
yeah,
wake up and you're not going to be doing what you thought you were going to do that day. And things are going to change. And this vision, mission, values, and purpose can guide you uh, when it's time to make decisions.
gotcha. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and another thing we talk a lot about on this show is building a business that can run without you. I imagine well, of course, it increases the value when the business goes to exit tremendously. It's one of the huge value drivers. But I imagine it would also make the business a lot more resilient, right? If something bad happens to the owner, you don't have a key man risk. Do you see that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Um, but but let's back up just a second. It's back to the why again. Now,
Mm,
why are you in business? Do you just want to have a truck and make a few bucks and you're fine and that's it? Well, maybe you don't need to get out of your business, Maybe you don't need to grow bigger than that. If you want to grow the business though, if you want to scale the business, if you want to go from one truck to 10 trucks, then you've got to move out of the way and find a way to let other people do the work while you do the guiding and do the decision making and the strategy to move forward. You've got to find a way to do it. I call it crossing a chasm. I
mm,
remember when we started the typewriter company, my partner, he would be in the office, which was his kitchen, and he would be calling people. He was our sales guy. I would be out in the field in my car going from place to place doing the cleaning and the maintenance on typewriters that he sent me to. That worked
mm,
beautiful. I mean, we were just doing great until that guy asked us, "Do you can I get a annual maintenance contract?" Well, that changed everything because we had to give him a commitment that we were going to be there for a year because he was going to pay for it up front.
mm,
And if we were going to be there for a year, we had to do things, my partner and I, to ensure the company could stay around. And I remember so distinctly of being out there. I was the guy doing the repairing, and we were getting more and more and more because my partner Dick, he was on the phone selling, and he was pretty good at it. And he was getting more contracts and more commitments.
mm.
I'm out there running my butt off. Dick, we need to hire somebody. Oh, no, not yet. We don't have enough money to hire somebody. I can't take this. And then the more I go, the faster I go, and the harder I run, then quality starts to happen because all of a sudden I start showing up late, or I just can't afford to stay with the customer long enough. I've got another customer ahead of me, and it impacts
Mm,
what you really are doing. You've got to find a way and take a risk, a calculated risk on moving yourself out of the business. Um, you might think of it this way. In order to grow your business, you got to get out of the business first. And that means
right.
if you're a bricklayer, you've got to stop laying bricks. If you're a truck driver, you got to stop driving the truck. If you're a warehouse guy, owner, you've got to stop driving the forklift. So,
Right.
and you must invest back into your business by replacing yourself so that you have the ability to expand you with your business because you can only do so much as one person. It's key,
Right.
it's critical, and it's a big chasm to cross to get over from that giant canyon below you. You feel like you're going to just get swallowed up by it if you take that step and hire that first person.
Right.
And that was huge for me.
Yeah, for sure. And you having seen from, yeah, just two people to growing it to, in the
35, yeah,
30s.
35, yeah.
Yeah. Are there any
The other,
specific
well,
recommendations you'd give to business owners that want to also make that leap over the chasm and make their business more
well,
owner
just
independent?
the one thing, I mean, if you ever think about selling your business, if you are the business, you're not going to be able to sell it because
Right.
you're not, you could sell it, but you have to go along with it. If so, you've got to take yourself out of the equation. You've got to replace yourself in order for your business to have value to somebody else. So if you want somebody to buy your business, it's got to run on its own. If you want to take a vacation, it's got to run on its own. If you get sick, it's got to continue if you want to continue having an income. So it's crucial. And I don't know if I just answered your question. I think I continued on with it. Oh,
Yeah,
some tips
e-
about doing it.
exactly. Yeah.
I think the biggest tip is to slowly get there. In other words, you don't have to replace yourself all at once.
Mm,
You could start dispersing what you do to other people. If you have a partner, maybe start sharing it. If you if you could get a part-time person, if you could get a what are these people that you can hire, virtual assistant type people?
yep. Hmm.
Um, if you could contract it out to other companies, do a strategic partnership or do work things like that. Think about taking yourself away from using your hands and your body to using your brain.
Mm,
There's no one solution. Everybody's different. Every circumstance is different. People ask me, well, how do you start a business? And I said, nobody knows how to start a business. You just start it. I mean, there's no book out there that says, here's how you start your business. Find
right.
what you want to do and then do this. No, there's no book that tells you that. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can delve into, and you got to put all the pieces together. So you're on your own when it comes to that. But if you're going to scale, you've got to have the time to think about how to take those next steps. Goes back to that vision, mission, values, and purpose. What
Mm,
is the vision? Do you want to have 10 trucks or do you just want to have one and stay the way you are? If you want the 10, then what's the mission? How are you going to get there? If I want to have 10 trucks, it means I got to have so much business. If I'm going to have so much business, I got to have trucks to do the business. So I got to find a
right.
way to get the trucks. And then I got to find the drivers to drive the trucks. And then I got to have storage lots to park the trucks and on and on. I mean, that's nothing
Right.
new. It's pretty obvious, but you got to think it through. And then those values, are you out there? Are you going to be hustling and be known as somebody that kind of walks the edges? Or are you going to have a solid framework of who you are? People understand who you are so they know how to deal with you and can trust you. Trust is huge.
Mm,
If you can't hold trust with customers and prospective customers, it's going to be a hard road to get there.
sure. Yeah, one of the major things, of course. And yeah, I having it really grounded, rooted in your why and your vision, I think is really important. I love what you said too, start small, like specific tasks that you could hand off to
Yep.
people.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I think this virtual business is really good. The virtual assistants, they're very reasonable. You can hire, like in the Philippines, they have virtual assistants. They speak great English. They work. You give them something to do, and it just gets done. It's kind of like magic, and the price is incredibly affordable.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Buy back your time.
Yep.
Yeah, do you see any common mistakes or landmines to avoid when a business is trying to increase their resilience, and plan for the future?
Well, um, there's something called incident planning. You can think about the obvious potential incidents that could occur that could disrupt your business.
Mm,
And you could do what's called a risk analysis to identify the risks to that are going to put you in that incident. It could be an incident of a fire, it could be an incident of a theft, it could be an incident of violence, any kind, what kind of, it could be a storm, it could be layoffs, it could be
mm,
people walking off who knows what the incident, whatever you identify as a potential incident that it could occur, think about the risks that could get you there. And once you think about the risk, then there are 5 different aspects to every risk.
mm,
Actually, it's 5 different decisions you can make. Do you want to avoid this risk? In other words, if you see that there's a risk in front of you, just avoid it completely, find a way around it. Do you want to just reduce it by, well, I'll take that risk, but I'll just minimize the likelihood or the impact of it by, maybe putting a little insurance on it or, do whatever you can to reduce that risk. Do you want to transfer it? Maybe you could buy an insurance policy and take the risk and move it over to the insurance company.
mm,
Do you want to share that risk? Maybe you go in, pick up a strategic partner and say, look, let's both go down this road together, but you take half the risk and I'll take half the risk. And then the other
yeah.
thing is to say, well, I'm just going to accept that risk. If it happens, it happens. I'm going to eat it and move on. So those are the 5 different things: avoid, reduce, transfer, share, and accept. Those are your choices when facing risk. And then apply this thinking towards your overall risk planning about what kind of incidents could happen to you.
Mm,
Right. So let's say you had um, uh, maybe you had trucks. Let's go back to the truck thing. Trucks
sure.
in a yard. You got a fence around the yard, and you got 10 trucks in the yard. What could go wrong? Well, maybe there's the opportunity of theft. Somebody could climb the fence, get in the truck, start the truck, bust through the fence, and be gone. Now you got a broken
Hmm.
fence and a missing truck and a whole disruption to your business. So go down the list. How could you avoid this situation? Well, maybe you could have a brick wall with a roof, but maybe put them in a warehouse. A locked warehouse would be better than in a open yard with a fence around it. That's one way. Is it viable? Who knows? But that's the thinking you want to go think about.
Mm,
Reduce the likelihood of it. Well, instead of a fence or instead of just a plain fence, let's put barbed wire around the fence. That would reduce the possibility of them coming over the fence, right? So that's something you could do. Or transfer it. Well, let's buy an insurance policy that if something like that happens, uh, then the risk is not going to be so bad for you because all the cost of it's going to be shifted over to the insurance company,
mm,
right? or let's transfer this risk. I mean, let's share this risk. Um, let's get somebody to share this yard with another business, maybe, and we'll have trucks from two different businesses in this yard, and both of us, it's our responsibility to make sure things go well. Or we just accept the risk and say, that's not going to happen. If it does, big deal, we'll figure it out. And that's how you go through this process.
Yeah. Gotcha. Wow. Thank you for, yeah, that's great. I love how linear it is, and that example is perfect. We did something similar in the Navy, operational risk management, where we'd go through and analyze all the potential risks, and they get assigned a likelihood,
Yeah.
and severity, yeah, and all of that, and determining if that happens, what to do or how to prevent it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the other thing too, is go through your business and look at all the potential uh, things that could happen to your business and then prioritize them. What's if this happened, what is the likelihood if that happened, would I still be in business tomorrow? And if the answer is if that happened, I'm gone. Well, that would be a number one priority, right? So the priority is number one for that one. We got to somehow avoid, reduce, transfer, share, or accept that thing. We're not going to accept it because it'll put us out of business. But then you
sure.
could take this whole list of potential incidents that could occur and prioritize which ones you want to focus on and apply money to or invest in protecting yourself to stay in business.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And it's funny, a lot of the things that will reduce the risk, if you implement them in your business, they'll also increase the business's value tremendously.
Of course, absolutely. I
One
mean,
one thing we see a lot is, a lot of businesses will focus on one customer, because they get maybe better margins, or have just a really good relationship. How do you recommend, because that's also poses a really big risk if that business changes their business model all of a sudden, they decide to insource or what have you. What are some things you recommend to address that problem?
well, you put your finger on something that's near and dear to my heart. Back again when I had the typewriter company, I got into government contracting. We were in the DC area, so the federal government is a big potential income source for us. And so after a while, after my partner got tired of calling all these small offices and sending me all over the place, we decided to explore how to get into government contracting and soon found out that there are these giant contracts that you
Mm,
could bid on and possibly get. I had a friendly competitor up the street. His name was Reggie, and he loved those giant contracts.
mm,
Now, this kind of crosses over a couple things here. One has to do with values, and the other has to do with the risk of having a large contract. He would go
yeah.
after these big contracts and hire technicians to fulfill these contracts. Now, with the government, every year or every whatever the period is of the contract, they want to put it out for bid again and get another, for somebody else to come in and give them a better deal. Well,
Right.
sometimes Reggie couldn't win or to renew the contract. And boom, the next thing I know, he's laying off all these technicians. I
Man.
don't know what happened within the business cash flow wise, but he would be rich for a while with lots of people. And next thing I know, he was sitting up there twiddling his thumbs and had nothing to do and couldn't pay for his Corvette. And
Mm,
my philosophy was to go after many small customers and then have the bigger ones here and there to supplement rather than
yeah.
going after all the big contracts. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is be successful. What's the old saying? Be careful what you ask for, you just might get it.
Mm,
Um, if you bid on a contract and you got this big customer, the next thing you're going to have is you got people for it, you've got supplies for it, you have equipment for it, vehicles, all that stuff. Um, and when they turn the key off and say, sorry, we're going with this guy next year, now you're stuck with all that. What do you do with it?
Right.
So I always, it, it scared me to do what Reggie was doing, going after those big ones, laying people off, then rehiring them, and laying people off and rehiring them. That's why I say
Yeah.
with the values, his value system was different than mine. He could do that. When I hired somebody, in my mind, I wanted to keep them around for a long time. I'm kind of a loyal person. And for to go out and hire people and lay them off and hire people and lay them off,
Yeah.
well, it affects that trust value that people have in you. It shows what your values are more towards yourself than other people. And of course, the risk of having all this equipment and to rework your business all the time because you don't have a steady um, flow of business
Yeah.
rather than going like that. You're just up and down and just not a fun place to be. Again, though, it's up to you how you want to run your business and the way you want to do it. I mean, if you want the big payday and you'll put up with the aftermath after the payday's gone, it's fine. But plan for it, figure out the risks like we talked about. What happens when that contract goes away? Where are you uh, what are you going to do? What's left? How are you going to recover?
Yeah.
That's all a part of being resilient and being strategic about it, having an understanding, making a decision of doing the right thing for yourself and your business.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, and you always tie it back to your mission, vision, your
There it
why.
is. There it comes
Yeah.
right back in there. That's what
Yeah.
it's all about. If you don't understand that vision, mission, and values and purpose, if you don't have a good, solid understanding of it, you're going to be wobbling all over the place. You're going to you've heard the thing about chasing every shiny object, right?
Yep. Shiny object syndrome.
Yep,
Hmm.
exactly. And the vision, mission, values, and purpose will just center you and keep you solid. You'll know exactly who you are, what you're there for, and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved another, lesson I just got from your story is during those months where you're getting a lot of business, you need to prepare, right?
Yeah,
During the summer months, you save for the winter,
yeah,
or and it can
yeah.
be summer years too, right? You always should be saving and preparing that rainy day fund.
Oh, absolutely. Either have a source like in my business, our rainy day fund was real estate. My partner and I, we started out in real estate together and got into the typewriter business together. But we always kept investment real estate as a little side thing we were doing. And we always had equity and property. It wasn't quick and easy cash that we couldn't get to it like instantly. It wasn't liquid, but
Hmm.
it was there and it protected us. And we used our real estate to help expand our company. We would borrow against the real estate. We would uh, buy and flip properties. We would do all kinds of stuff to support the business. So that was the way we did it. It wasn't just pure sticking cash in the bank. You can find other ways.
Hmm. Yeah, smart. And just having some collateral, something to
Yeah,
support you, support the business.
yeah.
Yeah. Another major theme on this show, Mike, is technology. I'd love to hear your perspective on, you've seen huge changes from working at IBM before pre-PC era, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And to where it's going now with AI, I'd love to hear your perspective on technology and where you think it's going.
Well, you've heard my story about going from the typewriters and then the computers and then the microcomputers and then the internet came along. Now, when I started the All-Star Agency, it was pre-internet. I started it in 1994, I think it was. The internet kind of made its debut, I'm guessing, maybe 95 or 6, something like that. But it was the internet that I bought into, meaning I believed in it. I could see
Hmm.
the internet was going to change the world. But believe it or not, many, many people and businesses were skeptical about it.
Hmm.
And I thought to myself, well, if the internet takes off and I'm a part of it, it's going to launch me. And so I decided to invest in a website. Uh, my first website was a static page. You go to a, type in a URL. Once you could figure out how to open a browser, well, once you understood what a browser was, maybe you didn't even understand what it was, but you just knew you push this button and this thing pops up. You put your URL in, and boom, my page, there it was, the All Star Agency with a list of speakers. And there was no links, there was nothing, just that page. But it was some place I could send people. Oh, yeah, go to our page on the internet. And the next thing, it was our printer, by the way. We had a printer, a guy who, did the printing for us. He made our website and put it up there. He hosted the website. I don't know how he did it. Well, everybody knows what the internet is today. And if the internet changed the world. Well, the next big thing that I equate to the internet, of course, is AI. AI
Hmm.
is changing everything. And it's making what we're doing today possible. Right now, I can see on the screen there, AI is taking notes and it's recording this whole thing so that we'll have a transcript of this conversation. In my business with the Business Resilience Society, I don't think we could get it started without AI.
Hmm.
When I first heard about it, I I told it about a place I grew up in. It's called Highlandtown in Baltimore. And I told it about the ethnicity and the different bars and the different things
Hmm.
that went on
All the
there.
context.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I asked it to write me a song, the lyrics to a song. And I was blown away within instantly. It created this song that was so personal and so familiar, just like that. I mean, I'm saying,
Wow.
holy smokes. And there's no way I was going to turn away from it. And of
Hmm.
course, my partner Sherry and I, my wife slash partner, we launched into using Chat GPT for helping us talk to Chat GPT about business, about the concepts that we came up with, about
Hmm.
competition, about the possibilities of it's just amazing what it has done. I don't think we could be where we are today with the, the Business Resilience Society. It just wouldn't happen. Uh, the
Yeah.
writing, the ability to write. I know I've got lots of words I can put out there. You hear me talk, I can't shut up, right? But put them in coherent paragraphs for people to read. Um, that it was a chore. Man, put Chat GPT on it just helps me be able to write articles faster and get out my ideas deeper and apply more directly to the reader than I could ever do on my own. So
Hmm.
AI is here to stay. It is the future. You're living it right now. If you're not using it, use it. Download it. It's free.
Yeah.
ChatGPT.com. Just use it. Just do it.
Yep. Yep.
That,
Or risk being left behind.
yeah, it reduces risk. Now, there is also risk using it because you've got to use your own uh, sensibilities and your own sense of truth and sense of realness because it's just a robot. You get to talking to ChatGPT and you think you're talking to a person. It is not a person. It is a robot, and it's going to give you what you want it thinks you want, and you got to be careful there. But
Sure.
it is very, very powerful and will definitely help you advance.
Yeah.
Now,
Absolutely.
for technology, I mean, I'm no expert in any of this stuff. I'm just a guy myself in business trying to get along and to build our business. But when I see something like the AI that's going on, I've got to get on the bandwagon. It is the
Mm,
future, and it's here right now.
yeah. It's an exciting time for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike. Well, it's been a great conversation. I know we're up on time here. Um, where's the best place listeners can find you? And if you have any parting words, any last advice or whatever, I'll just give you the floor.
Well, thank you. Well, we built the Business Resilience Society uh, for the purpose of helping business owners prepare their businesses for disruption. All this stuff we talked about here today, this is what we do at the Business Resilience Society. We talk about it. We help one another. We're not it's not a webinar. It's not a course. It's a community of business owners sharing, learning, and striving to get better at staying in business for as long as they possibly can stay in business, longer than a lifetime, we say. Um, so I invite you as a business owner to come and visit our website at readysmartgo.com. No, excuse me, readysmartgo.org. Org. You could go.com, it'll take you there too, but readysmartgo.org and see what it's all about. Now, here's the good news membership at this time is free, except for a small $25 processing fee. Membership is free. If you want to come in, talk to other business owners, uh, hear what Sherry and myself have to say, and we have we have a framework that we have developed for small business resilience. It's called the 7 Steps to Resilience. We follow that, and I invite you to come. ReadySmartGo.org.
Great. Yeah, and I'll leave that in the show notes also, Mike.
Thank you.
Um, but yeah, great insights today. Really appreciate your perspective on things. Yeah, thank you for coming.
Well, Pete, it's been an honor to be here and to meet you. And we met on LinkedIn, right?
We did.
Yeah, that's another place I'd recommend everybody to go, LinkedIn, and get out there, start talking to one another, and find out what you can find out. And look at this. Pete and I got together just from meeting on LinkedIn. This
Yeah,
is fantastic.
exactly. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Pete. It's an honor, and thank you, everybody.